The last thing I'm going to do in this lesson is introduce you to the idea of constructing a confidence interval. The form of a confidence interval is going to be the point estimate minus the margin of error, comma, the point estimate plus the margin of error. And I can give you a few examples. If you're trying to estimate the population mean, then your point estimate is going to be X bar. So you're going to have X bar minus the margin of error, comma, X bar plus the margin of error. You're going to see that moving forward, we're going to use capital E to denote the margin of error. At this point, you know how to calculate X bar. If I give you data coming from a sample, you should be able to calculate X bar. At this point, you do not know how to calculate E. We're not going to go into details about how to calculate E. The only thing I'm going to mention about the margin of error here is that this value is going to determine the width of your interval. We are seeing that the confidence interval is constructed by adding and subtracting the margin of error. And so we can see that the margin of error is going to determine the width of our confidence interval. Now, we can also calculate a confidence interval for a proportion. If we want to estimate the proportion of a population, we can use a proportion coming from a sample. We can use the point estimate p hat. We can construct a confidence interval for a proportion using p hat minus e, comma p hat plus e. Okay? And so again, we see that the margin of error is going to determine the width of the confidence interval. Here, you're just going to get your feet wet when it comes to constructing a confidence interval. Here you have an example where you're given the point estimate and the margin of error, and you're being asked to calculate the confidence interval with that given information. In this question, you're also being asked to interpret the confidence interval using the context of the situation. This is what we're going to do. We're going to read this problem together, and then I'm going to have you answer part A and B on your own. Let's go ahead and read this. A researcher studying the study habits collects data from a sample of 250 students and calculates that the sample mean is X bar equal to 15.2 hours per week. The margin of error for the data using a 95% confidence level is computed as E equal to 0.6 hours. So with that information, can you find the confidence interval? Remember, your confidence interval is going to be X bar minus E, that's going to be your lower bound. Your upper bound is going to be X bar plus E. With the given information, you should be able to find the confidence interval. You're using this confidence interval to capture the true population mean of hours all students study per week. Once you calculate the confidence interval, go ahead and interpret the confidence interval.